Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and this is my video about what's wrong with The Suicide Squad. So, I just finished watching it. It took me, 5 days. This is a weird one. Like, when it first came out, basically everyone was saying it was so good. And then, like, this whole group of people were just quiet. And then a week later, they're like, just saw it, it's okay. And then everyone's like, yeah, it's just okay. And now the movie's been out for like 2 weeks and everyone forgot it existed. It's almost like Snake Eyes in that regard. Like Snake Eyes just went on, you can buy it or rent it streaming. And I'm like, what year did that movie come out? It was 2012, 11? No. So The Suicide Squad is a soft reboot / sequel to Suicide Squad from 2016. And it's just freaking weird, man. So I guess let's talk about Suicide Squad 2016 by David Ayers. So I remember seeing the trailers and I thought it looked like edgelord garbage. Then I saw it just to make fun of it and I thought it was pretty good. Then I saw it a second time because I liked it and I loved it. Then I saw it a third time. This is the back in the day when I had Movie Pass and you could totally game the system on Movie Pass. With Movie Pass, technically, you could only see like the same movie once, but you would just go say like, oh, I want to go see whatever trash freaking Melissa McCarthy movie, and it would just load up the cache on your card and then you could just use that for whatever. So there was a period there where I was going to the movies literally every single night, and then it slowed down to like every other night. I just go chill. It was, the price of the soda and just chill and watch a million movies. And if I liked a movie, I'd watch it a bunch of times. So I just walked out in the middle, not angry, not bored. I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm good. And then I just kind of forgot it existed. Then James Gunn got canceled in 2018. And then as DC swooped in, and so it's like, oh, you lost Guardians of the Galaxy, but then you got the Suicide Squad. But then like 6 months later, he got Guardians of the Galaxy back. And then it was like this weird thing. Like, it's like, yeah, so you can do that after the Suicide Squad. And you just sensed like, as a consolation prize, Suicide Squad was pretty okay. But then when he got Guardians back, it just felt like jury duty or something. Suicide Squad 2016. Everyone, it's famous for being chopped up by the studios. I think that both helped and hurt. David Ayers he's a very talented filmmaker, but he's not very funny. So they did bump up the comedy, which I think worked okay in Suicide Squad. The overall, chopping everything with the Joker, but that Joker, nobody really liked that Joker. They're like, they cut all the scenes with the Joker. It's like, nobody likes that Joker. Jared Leto is literally everyone's least favorite Joker. So it's like, did you really miss anything? They did a good job with Harley Quinn. Was that the first movie with Harley Quinn? Yeah, that was it, right? Yeah, they did a good job introducing Harley Quinn, a Harley Quinn that basically everyone likes. And the rest of the movie is just, I brain dumped most of it. The main thing I remember, and I've watched a couple of scenes recently, YouTube has recommended them. It's a really, really serious filmmaker trying to do a goofball action comedy, and it just doesn't work. Now, here's the problem with this one. This movie is a goofball action comedy made by a guy who is literally designed in a lab to make goofball action comedies, and it's just, it's fine. So there's a problem here in that James Gunn was canceled, and then he was uncanceled. But you never really get uncanceled. And he's done, an interview where he talked about like he had just moved into a new house at the time. He's like, I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose everything. I had seen Super. I think that's the only movie of his I saw. Super is good. But I remember way back in the day when he was first announced for Guardians of the Galaxy, I was like, wait, Disney Marvel hired James Gunn? Like, don't they know like every movie he's ever made? Did you just read that he did a superhero movie and it got good reviews and sign him based off of that? Like, when he was like canceled, it's like it was canceled for the type of humor he had done like openly for a decade. So it was kind of like, did you not check or you? Okay, so he got canceled and he got uncanceled, but it doesn't go away. He was put into complete abject terror. So when he gets Suicide Squad, which he probably would have knocked out of the park in 2014, 2015, after his cancellation, you get just this watered down version of a middle-aged man who's number one, probably two. I mean, even like in Super, I feel like I've seen 2 of his movies, but I can't. Well, I mean, besides Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I guess maybe I just saw Super before Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. But Super is pretty good. But they have this credit sequence that is, it's just a bunch of like gross out humor animation. And I remember at the time thinking, it's like, James, you're in your 40s. You're still doing Garbage Pail Kids style gross out humor. Like, do you even like that? And it did feel like it was more of like a remnant of his earlier stuff from Trauma, and he kind of felt like he had to do that. But it was just kind of weird. He kind of created a reputation based on a style of humor that's, number one, not in style anymore, which is transgressive and gross out humor. Transgressive humor is absolutely not allowed anymore. And that was like his, however you say it. Like that was his wheelhouse. So now you got a guy who can't do gross out humor. He's been canceled. He's terrified of being canceled again. And it's like, you'd be great for the Suicide Squad. Oh, you're like 55 and you just don't want to be canceled anymore. So how is it? Okay. So it's a weird movie. It basically starts 40 minutes in. There's a big fake out with a team of, I guess technically they're also a Suicide Squad, but then they all get killed except for the ones that don't, and then the other ones that don't. It's a super weird mishmash. The main thing I kept thinking was flabby, the word flabby. This is a 2 hour and 15-minute movie that barely needs to be an hour and a half. Every scene is too long. Every shot is too long. There's a million jokes that don't land. There's a million jokes that you don't even realize they're supposed to be jokes. You're like, oh, that was supposed to be funny. It's not like it was terrible. Like there's this one scene where Harley Quinn is killing a bunch of soldiers. So she kills 5, then she kills 10, then she kills 15, 20, 25, 30. Now it just feels like, are you using all of the footage? Like every shot. Like you can cut stuff out. You know that, right? This is a very, very, very simple story. Like really simple. In fact, at one point, they've basically almost accomplished their mission and the movie's only halfway done. You're like, the story really didn't start until like 40 minutes in and it's halfway done and you basically accomplished most of your mission. Where are we going with this? And where you're going is a bunch of scenes that go on for too long. The team is generally pretty good. I liked it. I was just remembering like somebody mentioned Katana, and I just remembered she's a main character in the first movie, and I can't remember her doing anything at all. And she's in like almost every shot. With that version, almost everyone lived to the end, right? Okay, so this one, about half the team. Well, one team, most of them die, and the other team, about half of them die. Let me talk about what really, really works. Idris Elba. I made a joke that Idris Elba should play Aunt May because everyone likes Idris Elba in everything. He is, I don't know, he's almost kind of like a modern day John Wayne. He can play any role. He's still always kind of himself, even when he's putting on like a bad Southern accent to play a pilot in Prometheus. You still like him, it still works. He always looks the same. He's late middle age right now. There's some action scenes where he's running, and oh my gosh, he runs like such a dad. It's freaking hilarious. He runs like he just got freaking hernia surgery like 3 months ago. So he's not Deadshot. He's Bloodsport. He's Deadshot. Oh my gosh, I got to tell you, one of the worst motivations ever. It's like, Deadshot, you're in prison, but your daughter's going to go to prison too for stealing a watch? If you don't do this mission that you'll die doing. What? Okay, so basically in this one, they decided that Amanda Waller is a villain. In the first one, they tried to, play, yeah, she has to do this. This one, she's just a straight up villain. Okay, sidebar. There's a bunch of scenes with Amanda Waller's support crew. And I gotta say, these are essentially CIA types. Support, they're not James Bond, but none of them is remotely believable in their job. They all seem like generic LA actors and actresses that would be in the funny commercial. I always bring this up. When I was a kid, there would be like 5 funny commercials a year. Now, like every commercial is trying to be funny, and they are excruciatingly unfunny. So you got the fat geek. He's such a geek. Who cares? You have a bunch of women that are not remotely believable as CIA analysts and techs, and it's just weird. Getting back to the team works. Bloodsport works. Ratcatcher 2, that works. Polka Dot Man, as everyone says, is a lot cooler than you would think he was. John Cena as Peacemaker. Holy shit. First of all, when did John Cena become a legitimately good actor? When did that happen? Like, there's a scene, spoiler, where he's killed Rick Flag, and he's definitely killed him. You can tell they were like, we don't want you to think Rick Flag is coming back, so we're gonna cut to a shot of the inside of Rick Flag's chest cavity so you can see a shard of a bathroom tile go into his heart, and for his heart to stop, or slow down at least. And so, but then you cut to John Cena, and you see this incredible... So John Cena plays Peacemaker, who is supposed to be a patriotic hero. And he's killed Rick Flag, another patriotic hero, a colonel in the army. And he has such incredible shame on his face for doing it that it's very endearing and human. And then there's a point where there's a whole thing, oh, we got the disc, whatever, who cares? There's a point where Ratcatcher is like, Rick Flag wanted to bring this disc to the media to expose this, and I'm going to do, and then Peacemaker points a gun at her, and then she's like, okay, fine, I won't do it because you're going to kill me. And the thing is, you're looking at John Cena, and he is portraying his shame at killing a patriotic hero, that you're like, I don't think he's killing her because she knows the secret and she's going to go to the media and she's a loose end. I think he's going to kill her literally because she's a witness to his shame of killing a patriotic hero, and he views himself as a patriotic hero. That part worked really, really well. There is also, and there's a lot of flabby, not funny humor, but there is a great bit at the beginning where they are letting, they've already recruited Bloodsport to be the leader. And then they tell his origin. It's like his father raised him to be a killer since he was a boy. He's the greatest marksman in the world. He never misses a shot. And then they're like, here's Peacemaker. His father raised him. And it's like the same origin. That was freaking hilarious. Then they start jousting back and forth. They're like, what do you do? It's like, you do the same thing I do. He's like, no, I'm better than you. He's like, I never miss. I never miss. He goes, I use smaller bullets. My bullets go through your bullet holes. That was legitimately, as a comedy scene, one of the best I've ever seen in any movie. Like, not only was I laughing, but I literally told every single person I know over the next 24 hours about that scene. So that scene is, I mean, again, it's like 40 minutes in, but it's essentially the beginning of the movie. It's just weird. The movie is weird. The pace is off. There's this kind of there's a sadness to this. Like, James Gunn knows he can't go there anymore. He can go 50% there. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point anymore? It's just this like uncanceled but still canceled old man where he's kind of trying to do the same movies he did when he was 26, but he can't do that anymore. So he's kind of locked in, and it's a recommend to watch, I guess. That's not really much of a recommend if you say it like that and then you finish it with, I guess. I just felt sad a lot. You could feel the sadness of James Gunn, where he just can't make the movies that he wants to make anymore. He can't do it. I mean, there's fine little bits here and there. There was also like some weird parts. Like at one point they go to the general's castle, and like the soldiers are below a stormtrooper in threat level. There's also a scene where all of a sudden out of nowhere they introduce 2 female enemy soldiers who are like 5 feet tall. They look like admin clerks, but they're like commanding all the soldiers, and you're like, you're not very threatening. Like, that's the whole point. Like, you're supposed to be, going up against you is supposed to be suicide. Now, technically, I guess it's suicide to go against Starro, who was defeated fairly easily. I don't know, it was kind of cool to see Starro, but he really, spoiler, a bunch of rats eat him. Harley Quinn jumps inside his eyeball and stabs his cornea, and then some rats go in and they eat their way into his brain. It wasn't really that difficult. To tell you the truth, it was fairly medium level superhero stuff. Then the other thing is that, the deaths were very predictable. Like when Polka Dot Man dies, like, it's guaranteed that, like, you literally say, this is the scene where he dies. So, yeah, there's a fairly entertaining 90-minute movie in this 2 hours and 15 minutes, but I don't think anyone cares to find it. I certainly don't think James Gunn does. Speaking of guns, Bloodsport is the best marksman in the world with this incredible nanotech gun. And then when he gets to shoot at Starro, he just shoots at a random part of essentially the torso of the starfish instead of the most obvious target, which is his giant eyeball, which we see later is not really that strong. Like, you can just jump through it as a human. The things that Harley Quinn and the magical staff that she carries around for the whole movie and the rats did to the nervous system at the back of Starro's eye socket, it all could have been done by Bloodsport with his really cool gun. Just, whatever. Nothing matters. Anyway, thanks for watching. Okay, so is this a recommend? If you made it this far in the video, probably yes. I wouldn't pay anything for this. If you have HBO Max already, go ahead and watch it. Or watch The Player. They got The Player by Robert Altman. That's an excellent movie. Go watch that. Thanks for watching. Bye.